Yeah, centimeter.
Here's a question. So to a hobbit, does a little person look big?
That. Look at that. Oh my God, he's getting so big.
What's the difference?
That's my question. I mean,
they're both pretty scary.
Hobbit to little person. So is it really?
Give me like 5 more sessions, I'm gonna be your height.
I get it. I know why you're so excited.
See?
You can get on roller coasters now.
See? I hate roller coasters. They're bad for you. They're bad for you.
Just made it right there.
And you're hoping that you start shrinking so you get better at grappling because your center of gravity will be shorter.
Put your gloves on.
Boom!
Put your gloves on.
So you're gonna bring both feet here and then step out. Boom. Your punches are going down that same center line, but you want your hips out so your head comes off that center line and your hip throws it over.
That's kind of how I do it.
I seen what Eder did to you yesterday. I know the secret.
Absolutely nothing. Just because I got on the wall and covered up?
Just because I got on the wall and took so many punches, he did something?
To my hands? You gotta take a breath at some time. So I guess you missed.
For a 3-minute breath. In a 3-minute round.
I guess you missed the rest of the match. I saw a couple of crosses.
You know what it is?
Regularly.
You know what it is? You had boxing gloves on, so you couldn't point. You couldn't point at them, so that's why your punches weren't landing, because you couldn't point at them. Because you were forced to be in a fist and fight like a normal human being.
Sounds like nonsense.
No. That's what happened, though. So what do you want to work on?
What do I want to work on?
You're striking because it sucks?
See, this is the type of coach he is.
It's because I don't tell people to point.
You see all this nonsense, right? This type of coach.
I don't tell people.
No, I actually want to work on my kicks. And
You know this is only like a 30-minute video, right?
Can you reset? Make it 40 minutes.
Oh, really? You're doing this too? I don't think I need 40 minutes. Now I'm gonna work on my kicks at the end of my combo. And once I land that kick, getting out of there.
All right, so when you say kicks at the end of your combo, what are you struggling with right now, do you feel?
It's, so one, even processing that, hey, combo's done. This foot placement to land a kick.
Okay, good.
And then once that kick lands, not posing.
I mean, it's you, so it's like.
I mean, it's a nice kick, you gotta enjoy it. Like, that was great.
If it was great, then we wouldn't have to be working on it right now, would we?
We're working on it because I know it's not the right way to do it.
No, okay, so that's kind of where I was kind of watching your footwork, and I think it's all in your footwork. I mean, the recognizing when the combo's done, that's on you. You should know how many punches you're throwing, and you should know when you're stopping, right? Because the options you have after a punch, your last punch, head movement, footwork, takedown, or a kick. So you're opting for the kick. It's just making sure that your body is constantly ready. Because it's real easy for any of us to say, all right, I'm gonna go jab, cross, front round kick, and then I'm out. But if you go jab, cross, and now that person kind of took a sidestep and now they're not right in front of you, you gotta have them wherewithal to switch your angle while staying in a stance. And just from the little bit that I was watching you yesterday during your sparring rounds, that's what it kind of looked like, that sometimes you were square, sometimes you were just walking, and even when you step forward or you step back, one foot stays in the bucket. So in order to kind of get there where you're comfortable with that kick, because I can go jab, cross, hook, or I can go jab, cross to the front round kick, but the footwork's gonna be similar. It becomes a matter of the range as well. So we're gonna work on body positioning and making sure that both feet get there to start. And then we're gonna kind of see where we're at from there. Okay?
One in the pink, other one in the stink. No. It's the shocker.
I heard tough guy, so I know we're not talking about John.
So funny.
We missed John for like 3 months because he poked someone in the eye and he needed physical therapy on his hand.
I was still coming. I was using that hand.
Because you poked someone in the eye.
Look, I've been working through a lot of stuff. I got bone splinters in my toes and I'm still here bopping and rolling around.
I got arthritis in my back.
Yeah, also like 10 years younger than me.
And I'm this jacked up already. And I'm still going, which means I got to do this longer than you do.
True.
All right, we're going to get both feet moving. And we're going to get both feet moving equally. So you're going to start your front foot in front of this one. Rear foot's going to be here. Take one step back. You're going to go jab and then cross, back, back. Jab, cross, back, back. Jab, cross, back, back. Let's move this a little bit more to get away from that bump. Because I know how sensitive your toes are. And then see how you kind of hopped in there with both feet in? One, and then step out, and then your rear foot goes in. Yep, and then rear foot out, out. 1, 2, there you go. Yep, when you get out, try to get out kind of more at an angle towards your rear foot. 1, step out, 2, and an angle there. Yep. So you're bringing your front foot, you're throwing that jab, you're coming back, and then you're taking 2 steps for that cross. Stay there, and then step, yeah.
You want it inside? I don't know why I lost.
So you can just stay within the square so you don't go into this weird outside area. So you're gonna bring both feet here and then step out, boom. Your punches are going down that same center line, but you want your hips out so your head comes off that center line and your hip throws it over.
That's kind of how I do with my crosses.
Yeah.
Not how I do with my hooks, sorry.
There, yep. There we go. This side of the ladder is not friendly to you. There you go. What you were doing for the few over there, you were throwing your jab, and then you were like stepping here and then stepping there for the cross.
just like when I work on stuff, it kind of has a rhythm to it.
Yeah.
And when I have to switch to a different style. This reminds me of like when I jab to step in
For the hook.
for the hook.
And
But it really should just be there.
to make,
But I don't do, so when I do a jab cross, I usually go
yeah.
I don't step all the way out.
Because those are all the boxers that you like to watch.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah. I mean, it's not wrong. It all depends, because what you're doing here, you're just taking away a little bit of your power from that jab. So you're taking away some of your pop because that main focus is the cross, which isn't bad. You know, but to kind of start combining what you're, because I like to jab to the hook. That's one of my favorite things to do too, because I'm a front hand fighter. It's very difficult for me to throw my rear hand and be comfortable with it. You know, so if your opponent starts figuring that out about you, that you throw a lot of jab to the hooks, you want to start being able to mix that up, right? So if I'm doing that here, boom, and I add just that extra step to show my shoulder, now they're thinking, okay, I hit that a few times, it's like, all right, he's just going jab, and that's how he's setting up his hook. So now if I use just that same motion to add a cross, now I'm throwing off their rhythm as well. Whether that cross lands or not, now you're surprising them with that extra punch. They got accustomed to you just landing that jab in the hook. Now you throw a cross in the middle, you follow up with that hook, and now their timing and their confidence in them knowing what you're throwing is going to be off a little bit too. So that's why I'm always trying to jab, and I'm always trying to mix that in. So if I throw a second jab as opposed to just that slip, or if I'm going to slip to the other way, I'm going to make it look like a cross, just in case that next time it's open, boom. Same movement, same footwork, my feet are used to that. I'm just adding an extra cross to it now. Boom. There you go. Remember, when you're moving back, your back foot moves first. Back foot. Back. And time. Questions? Difficulties, weirdness?
It's not necessarily my body, it's my mind.
Yeah.
Whenever I switch sort of like a stance or a style, it takes a minute for me to sort of think my body into it. Mm-hmm. But then once I do that,
You have decent power in your punches with the way that you're throwing, but the way that you're throwing, you're kind of going 1, 2. So 1 foot moves for the front hand, and then just 1 foot moves for the rear hand. So if you bring both in for that hip and then both in for that cross, now you're using your whole body as opposed to just half of your body. That's using half your body for your jab, and that's using half your body for the cross. So if you can get comfortable using your full body to come in and out and always be in that position where you can start switching takedowns, switching levels for the takedowns, throwing those kicks instead, while all having the same stance instead of having to switch, all right, I'm gonna go to a boxing stance, now I'm gonna go to a wrestling stance. Just by the stance alone, you're giving away what you're gonna set up. So if you can get comfortable making everything, because jab, cross, or jab to the rear round kick, or jab to the double leg. My hips are getting there, all with the same thing, so now you're making your opponent really guess what's coming next. So that's why I teach that type of footwork. There are occasions, and I've been wanting to show it again because we haven't done it in a while, where we kind of do that step out here, where this is almost work. It's not necessarily a fake because I'm throwing it, but I'm not throwing with the intention of landing. I've landed a few jabs, but now I want to get that cross, so I'm just going to throw that out there and I'm kind of skipping that step for that jab. It all has its pros and cons, but to be able to be in your stance wherever you go, I think that's what's going to help you specifically with what you're looking to do. So we're going to play around with that. Do you have shin pads with you? Let's get those shin pads on and start playing around with those kicks. Specific combo, or right now you're just looking for kind of just the mechanics of things?
Probably start off with a combo. I tend to throw a jab, cross jab, and then try in with that rear round kick.
Okay. So let me see where you're at. I'm gonna hold pads for you and you're actually gonna kick me in the leg. Okay? All right, here we go. Time. What did you feel?
Oh, fine. I didn't think there was a whole lot of power behind the kick, but
Okay. Do you?
I felt balanced.
Balance was definitely there. Where did you feel like you were lacking in that power?
Probably the follow through.
Okay.
So it's just like it's laying there instead of thrown.
Do you know why? That foot. Even the way that you just demonstrated it right now, one of them was the range. You know, there was a few that you kind of landed, which are with this part, anywhere around here, not the middle of the shin. And that was just when you were throwing your combination, right when you threw that last jab, your feet kind of squared up a little bit. So you went jab, cross, jab here, and then you kind of just try to throw it from there. Which goes into what we talked about a little bit with throwing that right down the middle for that cross. It's not wrong. I can set this up if I just want your attention up here, but this has to be more of a step outward. And so that follow through that you're talking about is going to happen naturally, so you don't have to add that extra kind of hip turn, that's what you were doing now. Because you kind of just stepped square and your foot was lined up here, you brought this up here, and then you try to swing it over. So with my hip here, even if I'm not kicking you, because your body's going to stop me, my own body stops me here. I can't come all the way through here and expect to have balance or power. And so just by taking this step out here, now I'm just by turning going all the way through. So part of that is that step, because you jab, cross, jab, you want to step out here so you can turn that hip over. All your leg is doing is going from bent knee to kind of snapping that out. That's what that's the goal. That step is going to help you with that power, but if you felt I was also able to at least touch your hand, which means your hand was there blocking your vision a little bit, or I went to your body. That step, if you're throwing your cross right down the middle, I don't have to worry about getting touched at all. So that's going to help with the power, and that's going to help to make sure that your balance isn't disrupted by someone that's just throwing something out there. So the same concept we were working with that ladder, jab, cross, and then if you're going to throw that jab, because of the angle, you might be better off throwing that center line, and then you step out for that rear round kick. So go ahead and shadow box that a little bit, see how that feels. Boom, and then step out. How'd that feel in comparison to the first one?
Yeah, a lot more control.
Okay.
A lot easier.
Did you feel like you had to exert less energy to deliver either the same or more power?
Yeah, I actually feel like I didn't have to mentally process it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just my body's.
Your body's already unwinding that slingshot for you. So now there's just a matter of making that muscle memory that you take that step out for that rear round kick. For the front round kick, it's going to be the same thing. This one's going to be less power with the pendulum step. You take that devastation step, that's where you're going to get that hip turn like this one. But just understand the difference between the two. And if you do end up taking that pendulum step, don't feel like, that wasn't a lot of power, I did it wrong. This one's a little bit, it's almost like a hook. The same way I would deliver with power for my hook by throwing my hips this way, it would be that same motion, but with my kick. So that's the difference between the pendulum and the devastation step for the front round kick. You also said the out part. What part did you feel? Because I didn't see too much.
I knew before as I was working on my kicks, I had a tendency to like
just stay and
so I just wanted to make sure that I was actually moving out as I was kicking.
Yeah, and that's going to become memory with the pad work and the technique classes. So whenever you're working with someone, because I have that might be a video where it's just all pad work, because that's an art in itself. If you have a very sloppy pad holder or a lazy one, I can do exactly what we're doing here, jab, cross, jab, kick, and then I'm just gonna follow you and go around. So what that creates for the person that's throwing is that, all right, I'm just gonna try to get as many reps and kick, and I'm gonna stay there. That's when it becomes up to the pad holder to go jab, cross, jab, kick, and then I like just walking right towards you, because if I throw a punch at you, you can just slip and still stay there. You know, and that's what I've seen some people throw that kick and then they try to slip again. If you throw that kick the right way, you're already slipping, so you just have to put that down and come around. And that's what you were doing in this last round, so I didn't see too much, but just keep that in mind. You're working with someone, always tell them, you know, this is what I'm working on, just walk towards me after I'm done kicking. You know, and that's gonna keep you there. The next thing on top of that is the range part. So if I'm walking towards you, either actually physically do it for now or mentally do it. where you're just an arm's length away from it. Okay, so go ahead, throw your combo. Boom, 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 kick, boom. And then you want to be arm's length away. See, because right there, you have a perfect angle, but you can't do anything with it unless you take that extra step. There you landed, right? So let's just work that one for another 2-minute round. Boom, yes. Yep. And then stay there. Yep, and then wait for me to turn right there. That's where you're gonna land that cross. Boom. There you go. Yep. Just make sure that with that cross, since you're only stepping out, don't bring that rear foot up. Just turn that in place so you don't square up. There you go. Good. One more. Time. If you can keep that distance and keep that pressure, especially because you got decent height. You're not the tallest person I've ever seen, but you got decent height. You don't have to do all the moving. I do. As a shorter person, I need to work those angles to get on the inside. You can stay at that range. You're at kicking range already. You versus me, you want to use those long punches, those jabs, those crosses, and those kicks. You get that angle, now I turn into, boom, you're popping me again with another 2-3 punches, you make another angle like that, and now you're just picking me apart from your range, as opposed to letting me close that distance, and now you gotta backpedal. And then eventually there's a wall there, and then you gotta deal with the wall. But if you can start working those angles offensively and defensively, you'll be untouchable.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that, because I know we talked about kicking, and on the ride over here, I was like, you know what, I actually need to get off the train tracks.
Yeah.
If I don't, my main defenses are either just slipping, or I'm just doing this. And I'd like to get comfortable with,
Boom, yep.
you know, or just naturally kind of doing it.
The way I think about it, as soon as you get your head off the center line, you don't want to come back to that same one, right? It's going to be a lot more work for me to avoid your punches if you're throwing all of them here. So if I'm here and I take this step, I might be able to get a few, but you have to turn to get back to that center line so you can start throwing significantly again. You're going to get hit no matter what. You just don't want to get hit significantly. And then again, I can either choose wait for you to turn for me to strike, or as soon as you turn, I'm moving again to try to drain your gas tank, and I'm not even doing anything. I'm just getting my angles. That's you remember the drill that we do in there? Where the person in the middle is kind of just chilling with their rocker, shuffling their jag step. The person on the outside is frantically moving, trying to get in. That's what you're trying to do. And that's why the UFC fights this past week, Dillashaw took the center of the cage. He took some damage, but he won the fight because he was considered to have more control. He had the center, he had the back against the fence for most of it, and he was landing a lot, just the other guy was landing bigger. You want to kind of balance that because you never know how the judges are going to see it. So that's why you want to make those punches count when you're there. And you can throw a lot, but you can throw a lot, land significantly, make your angle, and throw some more significant strikes, get your angle, and just pick that person apart. And that's the start of it.
Time to work on that?
Yeah. Offensive, defensively, or both? Okay. So we're gonna, whenever I hold up the pads, we're gonna keep working that combination. I'm gonna turn for single direct attacks after you throw that kick, once you make your angle, and I'm gonna throw some punches at you as well. So here. Boom. Yeah. Yep, boom, boom. Combo.
Oh, you want me to do my combo?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Combo. 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 15 seconds. Combo. Time. So be very careful of this stuff in MMA. They're not illegal in amateur MMA, but if I'm going for the body and you're bringing your head down, we all know what that's like. Make sure when you're slipping too, your hands are way down here when you're slipping. And that's where, yep, boom. Might not feel a lot. And that's what I had to tell the morning class, because in the morning class, they were all just eating kicks. There was no checks, there was no nothing. I was like, they don't hurt because you got shin pads and you're training with each other. You're gonna take one real one in a fight, and you're so unused to checking kicks, that's it for you for that fight. It's the same thing here. Like, you might feel like you can eat a punch, but you're training with each other. As soon as someone starts trying to knock you out, that changes everything. So you don't want to get into that habit of eating those punches. Max says it all the time, this isn't designed to take punches. That's why we gotta protect it all times. When you're slipping here, boom, boom. You have your analogy? I like, for me, this is what worked for me. If you throw your jab at me, a jab, I'm putting my shoulder right across this line. Because that means my shoulder's in that center line, my hands are still up, and I got those shots there. And for me, I'm a shorter person, so I need to close that distance. Because if you're just throwing jab crosses and I'm just slipping on the outside here, eventually I'm gonna get caught with something. Because training that drill works because you're throwing down the center line. As soon as I see that the person's doing this, I'm throwing the jab here, and then I'm throwing the cross right down there, right away. You know, so that's how I think about it. Try it, see how yours works for you, and then we can reevaluate that one later. Any questions? Anything that didn't make sense or anything that Makes a little bit more sense now.
That makes sense. I just have to adjust how I train. Because obviously, when I feel boxing, I thought I made some improvement because I used to be here.
Yeah.
So now at least I guess I'm overdoing it now.
Yeah.
At least I'm moving that foot.
The same distance the front foot travels, the back one has to follow. Because there was some, you're taking that step and then this one came here. So if someone's just ducking under that for a takedown, you're giving them your legs at that point. But yeah, that drill, I hate it. But
Start working that in my early routine.
yeah, I do that at least once a week. That's what I work on with her on Fridays. And it's helped me, especially for me, it's just getting used to moving this weight because I'm used to training at 130 pounds. So now there's an extra 20 pounds that I'm trying to move around with the proper technique, you know, because in my mind it's like, all right, I'm stronger now, so I don't have to move so much. Now I can fight the way that I kind of always fought, but now I'm getting hit more again because just taking that split second to move your body in position is going to save you from a lot of strikes. Once they start getting a hold of that, that's when you start adjusting and changing up the tempo of it, fakes and feints and all that good stuff. Cool? All right. Grab some water, and then we will have